Please join me in welcoming Jane.
As you just mentioned. And I'm going to tell you a little story about Green Plate Catering. We obviously have won lots of awards from the county and from the state, and to show that we have been doing green practices for longer than it's been cool. And now it's cool, so here we are, getting to tell everybody about our story. So our mission is to provide healthy and locally sourced, seasonal, sustainable, and delicious menus with a zero waste ethic for any occasion, serving anyone and everyone with dietary restrictions and allergies. We feel a responsibility to lead a future of green living in the DMV area. People call us, and so that's really cool, and I'm surprised that we're the only company doing that right now, but at the same time, it's good for business. But I want to step back a little bit and talk about permaculture. Has anybody here ever heard the word permaculture before? A couple people? That's awesome. So permaculture is another word for permanent culture or permanent agriculture, and it's a design science for culture, but mostly for growing food. And I have a background in permaculture and growing food, and also teaching people about permaculture, which has three main tenets, three main ethics. In the picture you can see there, it's earth care first, we take care of the earth, and then people care, we take care of each other, our community, and then fair share, which is that pie. If we take care of the earth and we take care of each other, we probably will have enough to share with everybody. That's the ideal. So when it comes to growing food, we all know when you want to have like good, healthy food, you have to have healthy soil. Just like our chef said earlier, it's all about the soil. And so when we compost, we're not only just recycling the food scraps, we're creating amazing soil to grow better food for the next season. And so Green Plate, that's what we care most about, is the quality of the organic vegetables, the quality of the systems that they're grown in, and the quality of the animal products as well. So as was mentioned earlier, composting captures all the nutrients of the vegetables, puts it right back into the soil so we can get that in our new vegetables. Seems pretty simple, but for some reason, since we have so many people in the world, things to kind of reduce waste from the beginning. So in the very beginning, we think about how many people we're serving, and then we do the math and figure out what our portion sizes are, and then we order food and buy our food based on how many people we're serving. So right there, we're already cutting out a ton of extra food. And then the next thing we do is we keep our menus seasonal, which keeps it fresh and local, which is great. So that way we're not relying on carrots from California or avocados from Mexico. We're more keeping things seasonal for that. And then another big thing, if we do have excess, we do donate, which was mentioned a lot today, which I thought was really great. Apparently in the industry, in the food industry at least, it's not common, or it's like kind of like frowned upon in a lot of places to give your staff the extra food at the end of the day, or to send it to like a food pantry or something. But what we do in our kitchen is we send it home with the staff. Anything that's extra will go over to Shepherd's Table or Nourish Now, like our AstraZeneca person mentioned earlier. And then the compost bins, anything that cannot get donated or sent home with our staff, we compost with Veterans Compost. Has anybody heard of Veterans? Yeah. They have, as far as I know, they have land with gigantic piles, which is good for compost because that will break down these. So these are hard to break down in like a backyard compost, but if there's enough heat in your ginormous pile, then this will break down pretty easily. So our company, we use a lot of these kind of things when needed, but we try not to use disposables in general. But when we do use these, it's great that Veterans offers to take them because there's some companies that don't.
Can you get those at Costco?
That's a great question, and I don't know. Yeah, I don't personally go to Costco, so I have no idea, but I do know that we get ours from Webstron.
You need to go to Costco and I don't use Amazon.
Yeah, well, we don't really use Amazon too much either. Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. And we do, our company goes to Costco sometimes for things, but these specifically come from, I think it's called Webstron, which is like, they have lots of options for compostable, disposables, which I'll show you a picture of in a little bit. Small photo of some of the things that we provide that comes locally, especially even the dried goods and the maple syrup and the honey, all of that comes from people that we actually know personally. So that's really cool. I know it's not always ideal, but we're a very small company, so it makes it easier for us. Yeah, and just like our chef was talking about earlier, making stock is key to saving some food scraps. We also like to do pickling. In the summertime, we get a lot of fresh peppers and beans, and here you see a lot of the okra. We had a lot of okra this year. And so I spent a couple hours in the kitchen making a ton of pickles, and now these pickles are used year-round until next summer when we start pickling more fresh stuff. And just like our chef said earlier, the chicken stock, bone broth, those are really good additions to different sauces and marinades and gravies and stuff. And then since we provide a lot for vegan people, we do a lot of just vegetable stock, which is a little bit different than what he was doing, but still always delicious. Small company, there's 6 core people, and then we serve lots of people, and then we have a lot of part-time people. So when our part-time people come in, we take the time to train them on what we do and do not recycle, which pretty much we recycle almost everything. Obviously, this is our compost bin. That's from Veterans Compost, if anybody has seen that around. I've seen that at quite a few businesses, which always makes me really happy to see. We also, down here, I don't know if you can see, but it says only clean plastic, so things like clean cellophane and stuff we'll take to get recycled. And then all these little things on the shelves are all different things. We have like batteries, printer ink cartridges, corks. I don't know if anybody realizes, but corks actually come from a tree that apparently is going extinct. So recycling your corks is a good idea. So we've been doing that. We also recycle fabric and stuff too. So I personally am an environmentalist first. Before I'm a kitchen manager, before I work in any industry, I'm an environmentalist. I make my choices based on that. So this is probably the only kitchen I'll ever work in because it's completely zero waste. We save the rubber bands, we save the twisty ties, everything. This is my kind of kitchen. So here's an example of our compostable disposables. We use these whenever necessary, but we really try not to. We like to use reusable equipment as much as possible, but sometimes you just can't help it when you're in the service industry. So just like we were talking about earlier, this plastic, this what looks like plastic, container is actually, it says number 7, but there's also a leaf on it. And people do get confused, but a lot of times we provide a compost bin and signage for our events so that people know to throw those in the compost bin. And believe it or not, these forks and spoons and stuff, that's all compostable too. We throw all of that in the bin. It's crazy, it's kind of hard to imagine this stuff breaking down because it feels like hard plastic, but like I said earlier, in the giant hot piles, all of that will break down. So training, something that I personally believe in is education of these topics. So what we do, if we have a new person come in, I personally like to take them around the kitchen and show them this is where we recycle batteries if you find that the batteries have died, or this is where we recycle these things. And I think it's really important when, just like someone said earlier, it's really important that your employees understand why we're doing this, not just that this is the new rule, we all need to follow this new rule, but more like, why are we doing this? We're doing this because we want to keep methane from coming out of the landfill. We want to recycle our nutrients back into that. Signage is everything. It's food does not last. As much as we wanna hoard it and we wanna say, oh, I'll eat it next week or whatever, like, that's not gonna happen. It's gonna go bad. It's better to just share it. Share it with your staff, share it with your friends. The homeless people on the street, we're based in Wheaton, so there's a number of people that come up to us knowing that we're the place to go to get something if we have left over. And then we donate to Shepherd's Table a lot. We would like to have a better relationship with Nourish Now, as well as any of the other food recovery organizations. Hit me up afterwards, we can get connected. And like I said earlier, a third of the county, of Montgomery County, is ag reserve, meaning there's farms, wine, Butler's orchards, lots of vegetables, and it's great. 540 farms and growing. It's wonderful. I don't know if a lot of other counties on the East Coast can say that. We have this many farms in our little community here. It's great. Also, I just want to plug our transfer station. I'm very excited about that. Like I said, as an environmentalist, the transfer station takes almost everything, which is really cool. I don't know if anybody's experienced the Shady Grove transfer station, maybe? You should check it out sometime, it's really cool. But next thing we want is countywide composting, which is why we're here. And this is just an image of what the farms look like, or like the list of farms in Montgomery County. Everything from dairy to vegetables. And like I said, Veterans takes our compost, but that doesn't mean that Veterans does all the compost. They're just one of the many companies that are starting to do this. Perfectly, we need millions of people doing it imperfectly. And this is something I want to stress. Like, all of us sitting here and we're like, oh, I'm not sure if it goes in this bin or this bin. If we're trying, then that's a great step forward. Don't stop trying if you think things are going wrong. Just keep, making the changes that need to be changed. Yeah, so that's the end of that. No more questions? Oh, yeah.
Do you bring your own composting bin to each event?
We do if the client asks us to. Sometimes we'll work at events that actually have composting already there too, which is kind of really cool.
I would imagine most of your clientele would, if they hire a company like yours, they would want the composting to take place.
Yeah, and say we're at a wedding or something where it's a lot of like, you have front of the house where everybody's dancing and eating, and then you have back of the house where everybody's cooking the food and everything. No matter where we go for an event like that, we always have a compost bucket on site for us in the kitchen. But if it's something like this, where it's like just the food is out and stuff, we'll just leave the bin there for people to see with signage that says all flatware is compostable. So the signage is not perfect. You'll see us at the end of the day pulling out, plastic things and bottles and stuff at the end of the day. But like I said, it's the group of people doing it imperfectly. Like, we're still trying. It's not perfect, but it's at least most of that stuff is not going in the landfill. And we just get a little dirty at the end of the day. It's fine. Anybody else have any questions?
Do you take like the batteries and cartridges and all that kind of stuff? Are you taking that all to the Shady Grove?
Those things go to different places. So I don't know if anybody's been to Mom's, but they have a wonderful recycling station where they take the corks, they'll take batteries and stuff like that, the printer cartridges. Not positive on this, but I think Best Buy also takes a lot of the electronic type things like batteries and the printer cartridges and other electronic things. But yeah, honestly, if you do just a little bit of research, pretty much everything is recyclable. It's just a matter of taking that extra step. Like for me, H&M recycles clothes now. Like they take like fully or ripped clothing. And so I've enacted that at Green Plate, any of our old or ripped rags or aprons and stuff like that will go over there, as well as any of the other items that we have.